Check. All right, we are live now here from Baum Stadium, where we are going to do our live baseball preview show. And we are joined by Arkansas pitcher Dylan Carter. We're out here. It's a nice sunny 9 degrees here in Fayetteville, Arkansas, as we are getting ready to talk about what we're looking forward to this baseball show. So do a quick intro. Welcome to the show, Dylan. Kind of how are you doing today, and how's things going with baseball?
Pretty cold, Baseball's going good. We're about to start up some practice next week, and sooner or later we'll be opening up right out here.
Very nice, very nice. So we know you suffered injury late towards last season. So kind of how talk us through that and how your recovery and rehab's going.
Yeah, so I had the good old Tommy John surgery. I've actually rehabbed a lot better than what I was expecting. Usually Tommy John, you're from looking at about 12 to 16 months, and fortunately for me, I'm 2 to 3 months ahead of schedule, and hopefully no setbacks these last couple weeks, and we should be looking at a 9 to 10 month return.
Awesome, that's fantastic. We hated to see that last year's. It seemed like you're getting hot at the right time, and then unfortunately that injury bug struck. But it's glad to hear that you're kind of ahead schedule progressing, and we can't wait to see you back out on the mound. Anything to add there, Seth?
No, I'm just glad to hear that you're on track. We talked a little bit before the show. He's getting closer to 100%, so that's what we like to hear. And every bit of depth we can have in the bullpen is going to be crucial. So really glad to hear that for you, man.
Yeah, and so we'll kind of just dive in with a general overview. Kind of what is the optimism or the kind of the attitude surrounding the team right now going into this new season, where last year kind of we made it to that regional, kind of got struck with injury bug as far as pitching, and kind of that hurt us a little bit. What is going into this new season? What's the attitude around the team?
Attitude's great. I mean, we got a lot of talent that surrounds all of us. It makes us all better. We all compete. And I think, the expectations with this team, they're high. Last year, after suffering the loss in the regional, it all hurt. I think I can speak for everyone that returned, and even all the guys that left. Like, we were kind of in shock almost after what TCU did, and it hurt. And, it still sticks with us to this day. It's like they come in here and beat us in our home field, and it's one of those things. Nobody does that. We're not going to let anybody do that. So the attitude, it's to win. It's to get to Omaha, and it's to win in Omaha. So
yeah, that's awesome to hear, man. That was definitely a tough loss, and I think that stung for a lot of people. It kind of brings flashbacks of the last few years. We've gotten so close in certain years, especially if you think back to 2018, and I don't really like to talk about it a whole lot, but that one sticks too. So definitely going to be an exciting year, I think, to try to maybe bounce back a little bit, get a little bit further than we did. I think the recruiting class that Van Horn's brought in is phenomenal, plus some of the guys that are returning, yourself included. I think we've got a really good stacked team. We've got, I think, more pitching depth than we've had in a long time, and then got a couple of big bats that I think are going to have some breakout years, with Caleb Diggs probably being the guy leading the way there. But going to be an exciting year for sure.
Yeah, and so before we jump into, talking about the roster and everything, we'll talk about, a little bit about our schedule. So, looking through our schedule, we've got some big home series coming up this season with some Omaha level talent. We've got LSU coming, Ole Miss coming to town, Florida, Mississippi State, all teams that are known to have really good caliber baseball programs in the SEC. So is there any of those matchups that particularly stick out to you guys that y'all have talked about that are, you feel are going to be big or important for the season?
Yeah, honestly, every game's kind of big to us, and the home series especially, because we pack this place out 13,000, and it's really fun when we put on a show for them and the crowd gets going. I think one of the favorite series last year was Tennessee. You couldn't really see a seat open here. And so I think, honestly, with all the teams coming in here this year, including our midweeks, like Oral Roberts, who went to Omaha, you got a top 25 Texas Tech team coming into town, you get these other schools. It's like we got a really good home schedule this year, and we've got an elite team, and I think it's going to be a really fun year.
Yeah, that I agree. The hype's been real. There's been a lot of talk, just with some preseason polls, Arkansas coming in number 2. That's not a big surprise. We talked about it on our weekly show where, that's almost the standard expectation with Arkansas baseball, that you're going to be one of the top programs in the country, led by one of the best coaches in the country. And to play in one of the SEC has, I believe it's 8 in the top 25. If that doesn't tell you that that's one of the best conferences in baseball, then I don't know what does. But then we talk about big away neutral site series. We got the Kubota Classic coming up at the beginning of the season down in Houston and Arlington. We got Oregon State, Oklahoma State, Michigan. Two of those teams being teams that Arkansas has had history with. About those matchups, you think any particular storyline or things you're looking at those, are just kind of same mentality going in? It's a big game and we want to win it all of them that we can.
It's going to be a big series again, and it's going to be a test to our younger guys and transfers who haven't really experienced something as big as that. Because these teams, they are some top tier elite Division I teams, and they all have chances to go to Omaha just like we do. And so they're going to be just as talented. They're going to be really good, and I think it's going to be a test to how good we can play away from here.
Yeah, I think that's a great take. I know from a fan's perspective, kind of on the outside looking in, the Oregon State and Oklahoma State teams, there's some bad blood there just from some of the history over the past 5 to 6 years worth of finishes with them. So I'm excited to get to play them kind of early in the year, see how we stack up. I think it's going to be a great test for us early on. So excited to watch those games.
Yeah. And then away series, we got, big ones that we're looking into as far as SEC conference play. You got South Carolina. That's another one of those teams that they've had a lot of success in baseball. And then Texas A&M recently have really kind of jumped on the scene as far as looking towards that top end of the SEC. I think, like you mentioned, that's going to be a good test for some of those younger guys that really haven't played in the SEC environment in stadiums that will be packed out to the max. And so, what does that kind of feel when you go away from home? The mentality there, especially for those younger guys. What do you and some of the older players kind of try to tell them and kind of get in their head before it's time to take on these teams on the road?
Yeah, it's hard to play on the road in the SEC. I mean, you look at almost every environment and atmosphere you go to. It's like, you got 10,000 fans going. They're rowdy, and sometimes they're liquored up, and so it's hard to play on the road in the SEC. And I think, the message that we try to send these younger guys is, hey, just don't let them get to you. Just be you, stay in your composure. Don't try to do something that you can't do, or don't sit there and interact with the fans. Just let them be. And so we just try to go on the road, and we try to take a series away from them and quiet down their fan base.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's almost like you got to have that mentality of, just do your thing. Don't try to do too much and almost be the hero. Do what you can do best and come out there and just play your game. And so as we kind of are talking about that in some of these younger guys, we'll jump into looking over the Arkansas roster. So when you talk about pitching, our pitching staff has 12 returners and 11 newcomers with freshmen and transfers. So kind of breaking down this pitching staff is, it's been already touted that this could be one of the top pitching staffs in the country per usual Dave Van Horn team. But are there any guys that are returning that you think have improved or could be a big difference maker going into this season?
I think there's going to be a lot of guys on the pitching staff that are difference makers. Everybody has developed and improved a lot since we left last year. A lot of the returners have improved, and even these freshmen, they are really talented. And the transfers that have come in, they're just as good. So this pitching staff, we have 23 pitchers, if I'm correct on that math. And I think besides the injuries, honestly, all 23 can pitch this year. Yeah. That's how good we are. I don't think we have to worry about a whole depth issue. We have plenty of pitching, and everybody could go out there and get us 3 outs on a weekend if we had to.
Yeah, I think that was a big thing. When you look down through this roster, it's like you said, several of these incoming freshmen had the opportunity to go pro, and they chose to come here and play and develop under Coach Van Horn and this pitching staff that we have here. And so I think that's big. Is there any guys that, as far as really stood out, either whether it be returners or incoming freshmen in fall ball, that seemed to make a big leap? I know there's a few of the freshmen that they really kind of stood out in fall ball. What's your take on that from being inside the pitching staff and, really understanding this team?
I think a lot of them have taken a leap. There's a few that have taken a much bigger leap than some of them. And the thing is with the guys who have taken a leap is they've just matured. And it's a lot of the guys that were freshmen last year that have turned sophomores now. You look at a guy like Christian Fouch, he has taken. I mean, he's improved. I can't tell you how much he's improved. It's fun to watch him. He's electric whenever he throws. Gage, Ben, Jake Faraday, Parker Coyle, all those guys. I mean, they've all taken a jump. And as you know, Hagan and Brady and Will, they're even better than what they were, and they've been really good. And then the freshmen, it's just like they all stick out, man. They can all come in and throw strikes like Gabe Gackle, Hunter Dietz, Colin Fisher, Tate. Like they all come in, they throw hard, they throw 95 plus, and then they got incredibly good off-speed pitches to go with that, and they throw them for strikes. They get people out, and it's our lineup. It's hard to get hitters out with our lineup, and they do it. I mean, they make it look easy. So, and nothing against our hitters. That's just it's a testament to how good our pitching is, and when our hitters are on against them pitchers, they're on, and they can hit those pitchers just as good as we can pitch against them. So, it's going to be a really fun and good pitching staff this year.
Well, they say iron sharpens iron, and I know that's kind of what happens when you're facing some of the best pitchers in the SEC from kind of top to bottom with your returners and some of the incoming freshmen. Obviously, the number one freshman class coming in, which is impressive to see as well. I think that does nothing but good things for everybody involved. The competition level between pitchers and hitters and things of that nature, just in practice, gets you so much more ready for the SEC competition than I think a lot of other schools are able to do. So that's something I think we really got going for us here, and it's awesome to hear that, man.
Yeah. And I know you're talking about some of these young guys making an improvement from last year to this year, those guys that were freshmen. And we know we saw a lot of them last year just because we had depth and some injuries that hit us. And, some of these guys came out and had some good innings and bad innings. How much of a difference or, something that can help these guys having that experience coming into next year? They had, SEC experience right off the bat in their freshman year. Does that help their mentality going into their second year, where they're like, okay, I've been through this in a sense, the ringer, I know how SEC play is, and kind of does that help
Take
them
a little edge off?
Yeah, take some edge off and get locked in easier.
Yeah, a little bit. And then another part of it is just confidence within themselves. It's just like, I can get this done. I can get this guy out. I'm just as good as him. I'm the best. So just having the confidence in themselves, and then the experience really does help as well, because they have been put through a very tough SEC schedule. Like, I think we went and played on the road at LSU, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Like, we went to these top tier road series, and I mean, we won games there. So they have experience, they have confidence, and it'll help this year.
Yeah, and so kind of going on with that, you mentioned a little bit. We'll jump over to our returners as far as your position players. We've got 9 returners and 11 newcomers. There'll be several transfers, a few freshmen. Guys like that. Is there anybody? You mentioned fall ball. That talent against talent. Guys that kind of really stuck out to you when it comes to hitting and playing.
Who's hardest to get out?
Yeah,
that's been my question.
The hardest to get out. Oh man. It's probably going to have to be a returner because I hadn't got to face any of the new guys.
Fair enough.
I would say the hardest to probably get out is either Diggs or Stovall. And honestly, you look at our lineup, they're 2 of our best hitters in the lineup.
Yep.
And
there's not really an easy out.
No, they can hit anything you throw them. They have an incredible eye at the plate. They're disciplined. They don't swing at what you want them to swing at. Like, they are, I mean, you're looking at major league hitters right here at Baum hitting. So, and I think they're going to have big years. And everybody says, like, it's hard to come off labor and surgery, this and that, but it's like, Stovall looks great right now.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to have a breakout year this year.
You're not the only person I've heard say that, so that's definitely an exciting thing to hear. He's a phenomenal talent. When he's healthy, he's really impressive hitter. Yeah. Great fielder as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I was about to say, we hated to see, him go down last year. I know he played through a little bit of pain last year, and then just ultimately couldn't go anymore. But that's great to hear that he's made a good recovery and return, and can't wait to see that. Now, tell me about some of these transfers. Have you got to see any of those guys yet that have come in, and or is it just really these returning guys that you've got to see so far?
Yeah, the transfers they're stout. I mean, you got guys like, you got the 2 Missouri guys, Ty and Ross. You got Jack from Tarleton State who played at Kansas. You got Behiva. That's how you say his name. It's weird. Behiva. He's going to stand out of all the transfers. Him and Jack, and then another one's Hudson White. Hudson, he's a guy that just I think started catching just a couple years ago when he got into college, and I mean he looks like an all-star catcher back there. He's learning how to call a game real well, and then his bat's really loud. I mean everything he hits is loud, and it's a loud out. Nothing, not like it's weak contact. He's always making hard contact, hitting it to the walls. Um, Jack's gonna make an impact. He can hit the ball far. I mean, he hit a ball this fall in our Fall World Series. That, I mean,
Still hadn't landed.
yeah. Those are kind of the guys that stand out. And then Vahiva, he is so good with the hands at shortstop, man.
That's awesome. Trying to fill some holes, man. That's going to be a good thing to see. I know we talked about it a good bit whenever we saw that transfer commitment come in, that he was going to be an exciting one to watch for. So it's going to be a fun year for sure as far as seeing some of the new faces mesh with some of you returning guys. And I think that's kind of the way college baseball and other college sports have gone the last couple of years with transfer portal and things of that nature. Is you've kind of got to do a good job recruiting high schools and things, but then you've got to recruit your own players to stay and recruit outside of your university to get guys in here that you need to fill spots. And so I think that's a testament to the coaching staff doing a great job at kind of filling all three of those bases there. So I'm excited for the entire roster, the way it's all going to shake out. It's going to be fun from a fan perspective to kind of see who Van Horn rolls out there day in and day out for different series and things.
So another thing I was thinking about as we were talking about these guys and transfers, how big of a connection do you think it'll be, or familiarity, having, Molina coming over from Texas Tech as well as Hudson White? Do you think they're going to have a connection that'll make, when they're both out there at the same time, a little bit easier on both those guys, and, almost easier for those guys to come out and call pitches and just play the game better?
They had a great connection coming in, and honestly, all the transfers and new guys that come in, we've all made connections. We all bond great. It wasn't hard for all of us to connect. We all have one goal, and that's to stand on the mound with hoisting that trophy at the end of the year and winning the last game of the year. So, just it's easy for all of us to come together and making these connections. And all of us pitchers, we connect with our catchers really well because, I mean, all four of them have been catchers this year. Yeah. So we all need to have those connections, and it's good to have those connections.
Chemistry is huge in baseball, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
So just kind of wrapping up a little bit here, we won the SEC title last season. Obviously, we would like to take a little bit step further at the end of this season going forward. So kind of what are your expectations realistically? I know the goal is to get all the way to Omaha and win it all. That's the expectation. I think the talent level's there. Is that kind of the assessment of the team as well?
Yep, that's always usually the expectation. And, we have this board in our locker room that says, earn it every day, plan on it, work for it, Omaha. And every day we go down to the PDC or into the Fowler, we're required to hit it because, those are the expectations every year. And it's like when we don't make it that far, it's kind of like you almost look at it as a down year, even if we win the SEC. It's just like getting to Omaha is the goal, and winning it is the even bigger goal. And this year we have the talent, we have the pitching depth, we have the position player depth. Like, it's all there. And I think us guys in the locker room, the attitude is to get there, and not only to get there, but to win it. So those are our expectations. And outside of that, it's just to win every game, win every single game, win every single series. And we want to win the SEC title. We want to win the SEC tournament. We want to win our regionals, super regionals, and we want to get to Omaha and win it all. So,
yeah, I think that's the common expectation for Arkansas. Just that's the Arkansas baseball program for you. And so, looking at that, we're about a month out from season. I'm sure you and all the guys are just ready to get out there. Like you mentioned, really starting to get up, really into practice as we're getting ready to open up the season. So, what is for you, from your perspective, what's one of your favorite things, I guess, about Bomber opening the season and playing here in, this fantastic environment?
One of my favorite things is just getting to play in front of the fans. I've grown up coming to games since I was 5-6 years old, and I've been a part of some of those electric crowds like that we have, and just getting to be on the field and getting to put on a show for them. That's probably my favorite part. And hitting a home run and all the crowd going crazy with the train horn and waving the flags, and then the hog pen. Hog pen's probably a favorite because they get rowdy out there.
Oh, yeah.
And seeing them run in an hour and a half before the gate, or when the gate opens, hour and a half before the game starts, and the hog pen's already packed. It's like they love us baseball players, and we win games, and we love our fans.
Is it pretty significant the amount of like emotional and exciting impact that the fans bring when you see that you're getting out there, you're getting warmed up, and the place is packed already? Does it just kind of amp you guys up that much more? I mean, what's the percentage ratio of how much more amped up you get kind of playing at home versus away, just due to the fan environment?
We feed off it, all the fans being rowdy. We love seeing that, and it kind of brings some adrenaline to us. It's like we want it to get loud. We want to hear the hog calls. It's like we love that stuff, so we feed off of it, and we try to give them every single reason to be loud and cheer.
Fair enough, man. I like it.
Yeah, on the flip side of that, like, it gets you amped up, but how these guys, and especially where the opposing teams bullpens at, how much do you think on the flip side that affects them? Like as an athlete, you're kind of trained to tune out some of the stuff, but with how rowdy our hog pen gets and like all the heckling in the outfield, like how much of a difference do you think that makes for the opposing teams that come in here, and what it makes this place a really tough place to play? Yeah,
it makes it hard for sure. It's a confidence. It can affect your confidence and get in your head. We try to not let it get in our head, but it's hard. It's really hard. And so, I think our hog pen does a great job getting in the players' heads, and just being loud. It's like it can make a team want to try to do too much, and then you try to do too much, you don't do anything at all, and it just quiets them down. It makes our fans louder. So, and same thing on the road. Like other fan bases do the same thing. I know last year at LSU, their bullpen's right up against a wall, and you got their fans leaning over in our ear just yelling at us, saying, it's just like you try to quieten them out. It's hard. It's tough.
Yeah, like you said, it almost makes them want to do too much. It's almost like, I'm sure, like you guys notice that pitching, like, they want to quiet these fans down. So, they come up on the, plate, and they want to, hit that big ball that's going to silence teams. And, so it's really cool to hear that has the effect, and like that, it probably helps you guys out when, they want to take those big hacks. They're going to hit or swing at whatever's coming. So, they want to have big hits. And so, that's, we know that's the type of environment Arkansas provides. And it's really cool to hear that, the fans and everything make that big of a difference.
Yeah, it is cool. Makes me want to come even more.
Yeah.
I'll be here for a bunch of them, but
yeah. So, as we're wrapping up here, is there anything, that you want to let the fans know about this upcoming season? Anything you're particularly ready about? I know you're probably just itching to get back out there and throw and pitch, and after last year.
Yeah, I am itching to get out there, and patience is the key. It's going to come. We got a lot of pitchers, and I'd say one thing I had to say to the fans is be patient with us when things don't go our way, and buckle up, because it can happen fast, and we can score fast, and we can shut teams down, and it's going to be a phenomenal year.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. Anything, Seth, you got?
No, I just appreciate you coming on the show, joining us out here. It's a nice balmy 10 degrees, so thanks for toughing it out with us for a little while and talking hog baseball.
Thanks for having me.
So, yeah, guys, go check out our channel. Subscribe. You can rewatch this if you missed it. We're putting out episodes weekly. We're going to have conversations like this. Like today we had with Dylan. Week in and week out, we're going to crank out the content for you guys. So like and subscribe. And also don't forget to get out here and show up during baseball season for these Arkansas players. And, this team has got a lot of high expectations, and we know they can, play to that standard, and we're excited to see how this season goes. So we'll catch up with you on our episode next week, and subscribe, and we'll catch you later.